Hi everyone, we are getting started with week 8 this week. We are officially halfway through the class, which is a little bit bonkers to me because it feels like we just started yesterday. So let's take a look at what we're doing for week 8. So we'll scroll down to week 8 and we see here that we are getting started with our first major writing, the major writing project for our class, which we will find out more about here at the labor project number 3 handout. So remember that just like the previous essay, this essay will be broken down into tasks, chunks from weeks 8 to 13. So you'll do different activities related to the overall essay each week, including drafts. And at the end of week 13, you'll submit the final revised polished essay. So the big essay assignment is described below, and you can scroll down to see the weekly labor breakdowns. So what is labor number 3? As I mentioned, it's our major research project for the semester, and it's titled Read This, Not That, Write Your Textbook, which I know sounds kind of intimidating, but basically you're creating a collection of materials that you think students should be exposed to in English 101, English 102, related to a specific theme. So I've given you a peek at the due dates here. As I said, we'll be working on it for till week 13. This is a big essay. It's going to be 2,000 words with a works cited page, and that should include at least 8 sources that we have not read this semester, representing at least 3 different genres. So genres are different categories of writing. So things like short stories, poems, fairy tales, folk tales, historical texts, essays, speeches, all of those are different examples of genres. And we've been experimenting and being exposed to different genres all semester. You have been looking at different readings from different genres each week so far. So we've been working towards this project a little bit covertly already. So here's some details about the assignment. Basically, the big thing that I want you to think about is creating a collection of literature that you think English 102 students should read that would be interesting to you and related to a theme that you think is important for English 102 students to learn more about. And as we've talked about, this may not be those canonical historical texts that people typically associate with English classes. You got to recommend a book in your last essay, the review essay, and this takes it one step further to say, if I was completing a course, this is the theme or issue I think we should learn about, and here are things that we should talk about. Here are the texts that we should read so we can discuss those texts. So the body of your essay will be explaining why these 8 texts out of hundreds of writings may be the most insightful and provide the most information and are the texts that should be read by an English 102 class. So you'll be providing evidence in the form of quotes from texts to explain why this is a topic that people should care about and why this particular piece of literature is important to include in that discussion. And then we get into the formatting. I've given you kind of a little outline here, which we'll talk more about in a future week. And then again, the schedule guidelines so you can see what we're working on each week. And then we will scroll down to, you can see a little bit about the different areas of feedback that I'll be focusing on for you. And finally, we'll scroll down and we'll get to week 8. I told you we'd get to week 8 eventually. So week 8, we're talking poems and proposals. I have a poetry reading list for you here. And I know this looks like a lot of poems, but poems are short and there are even a few videos in here. So these are the assigned poems. This poem, Rifle, is a spoken word poetry slam, and it does have explicit language, so just be aware of that. And then there are a couple of videos, and then we get into some more different kinds of poetry. So our discussion reading response this week will be focused on poetry. And then we have a little bit about genre and theme because that relates to our writing project. And our writing assignment for this week is going to be the proposal. So let's hop on over to Moodle to see the details of that. So we know our discussion posts, everyone's been doing great with the discussions. Remember, when you want to discuss something, go ahead and click down here, discuss this topic. and then reply so that you can add it to the thread. And let's see. So this week there is a new little piece I want you to think about. What is the theme you notice in the poetry? So choose a specific example of one poem or one piece of literature that you read for the week and explain how it supports, explain how you see that theme within the piece. So that is a new little addition to our reading response. So our reading response is due Thursday, of course. And then for our assignment related to our research essay, we are going to do a proposal. So a proposal is where you will basically tell me what you want to write about and why. So it should be at least 150 words, super short. I'm not looking for anything complicated. It should answer the question below and mention at least 2 specific works that you have found during your initial research that you would want to include in this essay. So what overall theme do you have in mind for constructing your collection? When I say collection, I'm referring to your essay, your read this, not that, write your textbook. So why should students read more about this topic? What are 2 works you found so far? And this could be super simple research. You could just Google it, or you could have something in mind off the top of your head that you read before, which is why you want this topic to be addressed. And then finally, consider how they connect to each other. So do they represent multiple perspectives of an issue? How do they relate to each other? So that is the assignment related to our big essay this week. And then there is an optional labor for you to write poetry explication or to do some poetry writing of your own. And you can click that and see the instructions. And basically you get the chance to analyze some poetry or you get the chance to write some of your own poems. You can do either one of those things. And that counts as additional labor towards increasing your baseline B in the class. I encourage you to do this, especially if you missed giving feedback to your peers for the peer review process. Doing more labor will help you make that assignment up. And also, writing your own poems can be fun sometimes. So that's what we're doing this week. If you have questions or concerns, please feel free to drop into any of the student hours. I am sorry about canceling student hours last week of the Wednesday student hours. My internet was out for like 3 hours, so I apologize for that. But we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you can always arrange an appointment with me. Have a good day.